What's up, guys? It's Eric here with Maker Foundry. Have you ever started a project only to realize that you had no idea where to start with settings? Or maybe you want to just look at settings for a new material, or maybe you have 3 or 4 different lasers and not sure how they translate best? Well, today we're going to show you the new Maker Foundry Settings app. It's completely free to access. You can access tons of settings across tons of different lasers so you can see what other makers are actually using that's working for them. So, without any further ado, I'm going to take you into my computer, share my screen, show you how to get to it, and how to get the most value out of this free tool. Let's get into it. What's up, guys? All right, we're here on my desktop. Let's take you through exactly where to go to get to our free settings sheet. Okay, so this is our website, makerfoundryco.com. This is where you're going to go to find the link to the spreadsheet or the app now. I will also include a direct link into our settings app down in the description, but if you ever lose it or the subdomain moves, just if you stay on this page, it's going to have a current link to wherever we decide to park it. But once you're on the website, you're going to go into the header menu and you're going to look for Maker Resources. You're going to click that button and it's going to load our Maker Resources page. Now, this is where you can find other helpful links as well, discounts on different machines, information on some of the Facebook groups we're in, how to book a demo with me, all of that stuff, and a contact form. But what we're looking for this example and for this video is this free settings app tile. So we're going to go ahead and click there, and it's going to redirect us to settings.makerfoundryco.com. That's the subdomain where we've parked our settings app in our library, and that's where you're going to want to go to access this tool today. Now, when you first come in, you'll notice I bypassed the login screen because I am already logged in. However, if you are new to the system, you will be greeted with a sign in prompt and you'll need to just create a quick free account. There's no charge for this with your name and your email to get into the system. If you are already logged in, it should take you straight to the settings library. Once you log in, it will send you a magic link. You're going to click that magic link or enter the code, whichever one is easier for you to do. I will note that if you're using a work email that's subject to email scanning, you probably will need to use the code because the email scan technically uses your magic link in the process sometimes. So just look out for that. If you're using a work email that goes through email security, it checks that link. And when it checks it, sometimes it uses your token. So you'll need to use the code and not the magic link token. But either way, once you confirm login, you'll be taken to this main settings library page. Now, this page is where the meat of everything lives in the settings library app. So you'll notice we have just over 500 results here already in the system. I'm going to zoom in a little bit just to make this a little easier for you guys to see. And then at the top, you're going to have a header menu with things like discounts, supplies, definitions, community, store, and then some other things that are directly related to the app, which I'll show you in just a moment. But the main view has all of these different filters where you can come in and filter directly by whatever setting you are looking for. So, say if you were looking for a setting for your F2 UV laser, you would just click the F2 UV button under machine, and it's going to instantly filter those results from 500 down to 55, right? So we've already filtered by machine here. Now, if you want to filter even further, you can filter by maybe you just want to see engraved settings, or maybe you want to see just rotary settings, right? You can do all of that directly here, and it's super quick and easy to filter through. Or if you don't want to filter by machine, and maybe you just want to search for maybe you have a xTool S1 and you want to do a tumbler. You can combine machines, materials, and colors directly into this search box. It's a global search. So I can even search S1 tumbler pink. And it's going to show any of the light colors that include pink directly there. So you can narrow that down with a quick search. It makes it a little more user-friendly than having to filter and scroll through a ton of settings. Once you find one that you like, you can favorite it, and then it will be saved to your favorites list. So if I wanted to save this metal wallet setting, I could just click the heart right here, and it's going to go straight into my favorites. Now, you'll also notice there are 2 different types of tiles here, and each tile has a ton of information. So, for instance, your tiles include both the material type, the laser, the manufacturer, the type of laser, the wattage, the engraving mode, power speed, LPC, or DPI, or line interval, depending on which it is. If it's entered, if it's a cut or score line, of course, you're not going to have that field. Number of passes. And then if it's something that needs a frequency or pulse width or engraving angle adjustment, all of those will appear here as well. but they're not going to show up if it's not being used because it would just clutter the cards. You'll also notice that if it's something that we have a link for, you can go ahead and click just to buy the material, and it will take you directly to where that material was purchased. So all of that's super easy to navigate through. Once you're in your favorites, if you want to see what you've saved to your favorites, you would go up to the very top menu here and just click on favorites. It's that simple. So once you click on favorites, you're going to pop into the ones that you have favorited. And here you're going to see all of those arranged. The same filters apply. So if you favorited stuff for the F2 Ultra, the F2 UV, the P3, and the P2S, and you're just looking for the ones relevant to the laser that you're working with right now, you can just go to your favorites, click on F2 Ultra, and there's just your favorited F2 Ultra settings. Now, you'll also notice there are two different types of card here, a community card and a curated card. So let's talk through exactly what that is. Curated means that it was uploaded by Maker Foundry. So we've uploaded this setting. The source of this setting is solid. It's been tested. It works. And it's a great starting point for you to look at for your machine. If you see it community and it's in the main list, then that means it's also been approved by someone here. And we've said, yes, that's a reliable setting, or we've tested it and it works. So there are two different spots that you can find community settings. And let's talk a bit about how they get there. So community settings by default, when submitted, go into this pending menu right here at the top. So anything that's in pending is a community submission that has not yet been reviewed by a moderator. That just means that someone submitted it and it instantly went here. Anyone can see pending settings. We do recommend that you use common sense and judgment when looking at these settings in case someone puts something dangerous in here, but generally, makers are pretty good people and that doesn't happen. So use common sense, but and there is a disclaimer up top that these are submitted by other makers and we haven't validated them. So to use them at your own risk. But they will be here immediately after submitting a setting, and that's from anyone in the community. Once we go through and approve it, then it will show up in the browse menu in the main library, but it will still have this community tag. So you'll know that it was submitted by the community, and you can change your submit by name when you submit, so you'll know who it was submitted by. So feel free to change that name around when you submit a setting. All right, speaking of submitting settings, to submit a setting, it's pretty clear. You're just going to click the submit a setting box up here at the top. This is going to take you to a pretty lengthy form. It's actually not that bad, and all of it isn't required, right? So it depends on the setting that you're using. You may not use half of these fields. If you're just doing a quick cut setting, then you're going to need to pick your manufacturer and your machine name. And then optionally, there are laser types and wattage. You don't have to fill those out. If you do, it helps. If not, we can fill those in for you after submission. And then when you go into the material, you're going to be required to enter a material and a color or finish for either what the engrave ends up like or the material that you're using it on, whichever way you want to do that. And then pretty much all the other fields are optional after you get past the operation, the mode, the processing mode, the power, and the speed. So, for instance, if you're doing a cutter score line, you won't be required to enter LPC, DPI, or line interval. If you do enter one of these, you'll get a drop-down box to choose which you mean. So if you're importing a setting from Lightburn and your interval is 0.06, then you're going to want to choose that that's a line interval. And that way people know that that's not a DPI or LPC type of thing. So, and then all these other fields, frequency, pulse width, engraving angle, all those are optional. And then notes at the bottom are just where you can put anything specific about the setting, like may need to clean after or sand after or whatever things that you may usually tell someone when they use that setting, leave it in the notes. Now, what you can also do if you have a Lightburn library is you can upload that library directly. So we built a parser that takes in Lightburn libraries and parses them for the materials, the settings, and the engraving type and the mode. So all of that, and it should auto detect crosshatch as well. So you can upload your library straight here, and it'll go ahead and parse that for you. It'll then give you a table, and you can select which ones you want to import or leave them all. And you can tweak anything that maybe didn't import right. But we've tested this several times and it seems to be working really well. So I have pretty good faith that it's going to reliably import your settings without too much manual tweaking. If you go through that workflow, it is going to ask you to select your machine, manufacturer, and wattage beforehand. That's just because in Lightburn libraries, that isn't defined, right? So you'll need to select that ahead of time because Lightburn just uploads the settings and does not include the manufacturer machine. So to save you from having to enter it for each one, if you click here, we've given you the workflow to go ahead and select that before you upload, as well as change your display name and attribution. Okay, once that's uploaded, when you hit submit, it goes straight into review into that pending status that I just told you about. So that's super easy for everyone to see. And it's just a good way to upload your settings and help the community grow. I will just take a quick note and say that the more that people submit to this, the quicker we all grow and the more visibility we all have into what's working for other people. So if you have the time and you have a really good setting, or you have a recommendation for, say, a cutting board that turned out just really great on your laser and you want to share, upload your setting, and then people will be able to favorite it. You'll be able to see how many people have favorited it. And we're probably going to add in leaderboards and things like that as we move along as well. So look out for those. Speaking of things we are adding in and features, real quickly, there is at the bottom of every page a feature request and feedback form. It's in the footer down at the bottom. If you click that, it's going to take you to a Google form where you can fill out either what's working, what's not working, if you found a bug, or more importantly, if you have a feature you want to see added that would really help your workflow. And then just let us know how it would help, what your ideal state is for how that works, and how much it would help you, and then we'll go ahead and try to build that in as soon as possible. So the roadmap is completely open. We're really building this to help the community, and it's just a great way for us to get feedback on what's working, what's not, and what people really want to see. In addition to all of that, there are other things up here in the top that you will see. So you'll see options like discount, supplies, definitions, and community. These are all just relevant info for makers. So the first one is discounts. It's going to be mostly machine discounts. So here you're going to find links and codes for xTool machines, one laser, different printers that we use, embroidery machines, all kinds of ways to save money getting started with making new things with new equipment. If you go to the supplies section, you're actually going to find more discounts here, but this is going to be geared more towards supplies and accessories. So things like files or blanks, or even accessories down here. So if we scroll down a bit, you'll get to, once you get through the materials and the software, you'll get down to actual accessories by machine. So some recommended accessories for the F2 Ultra UV, the P3, the P2S, the S1, just all sorts of recommended items here that you can easily find and click and save a little bit of money on. If you go into definitions, this is a full laser glossary of terms. So different laser and maker terminology in here that you may not know what they were. It's pretty comprehensive. There are 85 terms in here. Feel free to scroll through or search for anything that you came across in a video or a post and just don't know what it means. This is a good place to find some definitions. And then finally, if you go to the community page, you're going to find links to all of our communities that we manage or that we recommend. So this is things like our YouTube, our Facebook group, links to everything on our Maker resources page, different Facebook groups that we manage, in addition to our main Maker Foundry group. All of that can be found here. And then, of course, you'll find a link to our store if you're interested in saving some money and getting some good quality blanks from a fellow maker. So yeah, I hope this has helped. That's the whole settings app as it stands now. We are working on adding a few things. Near term on the roadmap are a way to upload images for results of what looks good on certain things. So instead of just seeing the setting, you'll be actually able to see a picture of what that setting looked like when finished on the machine and material that you're selecting. And then we're also working out a way to upload xTool JSON files. That should be done relatively quickly. It's pretty simple code. I just haven't had the time. So I hope to have that live by this weekend. And then the next things up are going to be like a leaderboard, and we're going to have ways to export settings as soon as we get that nailed down. And then yeah, from there it's really whatever you guys would recommend to be on the roadmap. We're considering adding SVG file storage. So if that's important to you and if you'd find a way to make that helpful for your shop, let me know. There are a couple things on data storage that we need to be conscious of when offering a free tool, but we should be able to figure out a way around paying for that data storage if we just get a little creative. So yeah, that covers the settings app. Again, if you have questions or concerns or anything, just leave them in the comments and we're happy to address them. Or feel free to shoot us an email to info@makerfoundryco.com, and that'll come directly to me and we'll get to it just as soon as possible. Well, it'll come to me or my wife. One of us will get back to you as soon as possible. But we really appreciate the support from the community. If you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed this tool, please leave a like and subscribe. Also, feel free to drop a feature recommendation. We are completely open right now. So I'm looking to build this however it makes the most sense for the community and hoping to help everybody grow. Thanks so much for your time today. I hope to catch you guys in the next one and go make something awesome.